Okay, we have been looking at everybody's bridge scores. So if you're watching this video, it's going to seem a pair shorter because we looked at bridge scores, had students' names. I didn't want those and their Edmodo accounts everywhere, so we didn't record that. And it really was going to help you learn how to do this program anyways. Okay, so right now we've got an overview 123D design, make an account, getting started. All right, what does CAD stand for? Computer aided design. Who uses CAD? We went through all this, automotives, as students like you did. And then we said, hey, learn one, you're getting better at the others. We went through and installed it. And then they have different tips. I'm going to fire us back through there. We learned about the workspace. Kind of reminds you of Tinkercad. Really all of them. All right. And that left front picture, and let me go over and show you this. Over here, it's real important that when you go there, that's that little house. It can take you from, there's your front. If you go back to the house, it gives you that nice orthoscopic view. They actually have that feature in Fusion as well. I think I don't remember them having it in Tinkercad, but it wouldn't surprise me if that ends up in there. Okay, and so we looked at that. We did a lot with pan, orbit, zoom. It's on the right-hand side of the screen here. And, they're right here. The pan, orbit, zoom. Pan just shifts you back, forth, right and forth. Orbit spins you all over the place. But this takes you back to just a standard look. When you fit an object, so that will bring you back. I would say go to home if you really get lost. There's zoom in. Zoom works much better on this than on some of the other programs that are out there. Okay, zoom, and then we had fit. If I go up to here and I put a box there, I'm over and I'm looking over this way. I go over to say how somehow I'm panned and I get way over here. If I go ahead fit, it'll take me right there, back and forth. And then we talked about materials and outlines. Not surprisingly, if your materials only, there's no line on that. If it's outline only, it's an outline. And there's both of those. And then we could turn things on and off. Show solids and meshes. We'll get later. We'll show you that there's, that hit everything, solids and meshes. Usually your solids or your meshes. This one tends to use a little bit of both. We're going to need to be a little more sophisticated users before we really get all torn up about the difference. All right. And I had that. Now let's go ahead. Now, when you place a cube, just as I just showed you a second ago, if you place it, let's get rid of this. That undo will do it real quickly for us. I'm going to put a box here. All right. If I don't click on it, now it's clicked and snapped to every grid, but let's delete it. Go back up here to a box. I can put down here at the bottom, I can type in the dimensions. So we were doing like 25. You can be in whatever you want, 25, 10. Now I can click it or move it wherever I want, and there's my box. Okay. Any questions about that? Raise your hands if you have a question. So there's materials and outlines. There's outlines only. Okay. And menus, you're going to see a lot of menus that are appropriate will pop up as we get working on different things. And arrows pull it up and down in the direction. You can also rotate and drag it. So if we go back in here, and you can do different axes at once. So here it is. There's Smart Scale, there's Move. If I click there, I can move along this axis. This axis, good to stay in these axes, folks. This axis, you can also type the answer in. You can also tilt it. I click on this 2. You can also go to, all right, so there it is. All right, now, that was Move. Smart Scale is just simply, you click on the corners like you did in Tinkercad. And you can either type a number in here, right? Or you can type, make it 15. Get very specific that way. All right? Let me see if there are any more questions. It looks like there may pop. I went back to, are we supposed to be on? Yeah, I got it. Thanks, guy. I don't mind. Okay, my application isn't responding. Try Bing and get out. I'm sorry it's crashing on you. If it sounds like a Mac, so it shouldn't be. I'm not sure what happens. Just restart it back up and see if you get it. Okay, Caden, I'm sorry. That I really can't do a lot about. If it's not, it's working for most of us, not yours. Watch then what we have and then record it. Okay. Uniform scales, any which way. You know, you can do scale. Smart Scale is the other one. All right, you got Smart Scale and regular scale, and that's uniform, non-uniform. Then you can hide an object. Not sure why you're doing it. We did materials. We did say get rid of the apply overlay. It's makes it a lot better. And you'll get a color. It's still not. Then we used I for information. It gave us a scale setting here. So if I go here again, I get rid of the click when I'm done. I exit on it. And if I start to go in here into materials, remember we just said get rid of apply overlay, and I can select wood. There it is as wood. All right. And they had all these different colors. All right. Let me go back up here. Hi, materials. Exports into MeshMaker. Okay. Pull that up off there. Okay. You get different exports based on that. All right, now. Also, let's go over, let's see what it has on the next screen. All right, these are explorations. For some reason, my eyes is not there right now. Not sure why. Let me go back down there and take a look. There we go right there. Here's my undo. I'm not sure why my dimensional, we did this last week. Not sure what happened to our dimensions. If somebody, I'm just doing something dumb here, which is always in the possibility, please let me know. All right, let's go on to the next part. I'll find out what in the world later is going on with that. Pull that off. Okay, we talked about putting text on there as well. You can put it on any case. So let me go back up here. So you can type it on the screen with it, or you can put it on the object itself. So let's go over here and we'll get back to that guy in a moment. We're purposely going fast because we've done this once before. If I go to text, I type it here. So I can take my text, I can change how big it is. So I can put it on the object or I can put it on the ground like this. So there's 3.5. And that's the size of it right here. I've got different angles. I can change the font. All right. I have no idea what that is. Well, that didn't do anything, so probably wasn't such a good font to use. So basically what you're telling me is not all the fonts will show up. There it is. There's chalkboard. Everybody likes chalkboard. And then you can take it and you can change the angle too. See, I'm pulling it around like this. So across that pivot point. I'm move it up onto different levels. I'm put it out here. If I want to do another bit of text, I hit text here and I can put it on the face of this. Click on it there and there's my text. I can put it out on the outside of that. So you can put it on the ground, you can put it up here, you can put it on there. I'm not really sure I use text all that much in this program. But there it is. Okay? And that's kind of reviewed what we did last time. Are there any questions before we go any farther? Okay. So what we're going to do, you're going to see about grouping, but first of all, we'll come to grouping in a minute. All right. Let's learn about primitives again, and we're going to try to make a kitty cat out of. All great artists will tell you it's all some basic geometric shapes. Spheres, in this case, head's going to be sphere over the cat. Cones will be ears. Eyes will be littler spheres. Cones are nose. Whiskers are cylinders. All right. Okay. Let's see if you can draw your own cat right now. So let's take a few moments. We'll all play with our cats. All right. So let's see if we can get our cats to show up here. I'll get rid of this black. So I'm going to go up here. Just a reminder for all those who haven't done it. Here's a sphere. We're going to drop that right in there. I'm going to use cones to put on his head. Let's see if I can make this thing any smaller. So if I did that, how would I do it? Well, I'd go like this. Oops. Well, that seems a little bit too big, too small. Now what I could do is, if it doesn't go well, I can always, you can extrude it, you can do some different things, but let's go to our smart scale here and let's see if we can make this thing any bigger. Let's go ahead. Well, first of all, let's bring his head here. Yeah, well there's the head. You know, for right now, I'm going to make, just so I can see it better, I'm going to change the materials on this. This would be a trick I would use. All right. So I need to pull my cone. And drag them into here. Because with the 3D printer in particular, that's where I'm using the fit. See how he's, somehow I got him over here, so let's push him. See, so you can see it's real easy to overdo it. Move them over this way so I can see a little bit better. Shoot, I just, all that, and I just moved it out of the wrong way. Darn it. Okay, so now got that where I want that. I'll make it scale it down. I played with that a little bit too much probably. Oh, geez. Let's make the snap. Change that to 0.1 so it snaps closer. It's snapping closer to where we want it. All right, instead of me monkeying around, this is what we had earlier today. I'm having no. Oh, okay. Someone's got a suggestion. For the cones, they did a radius of 5 and a height of 10. Thanks, All right. We're going to keep messing this up. I keep blowing it. I don't know why I'm having such a hard time putting that cone where I want it. All right, who's got other questions, suggestions? How many people? Raise your hand if you got some things on your cat yet. Clear Mr. Dubik is having an off night on Tinker. All right. All right, let me go here. I want to do one thing here. Hang on one second. Move. We're going to keep doing it this way. It's probably a little bit easier. Use that move like that is much easier. And then I can take the whole thing and group it. All right. let's go here. We'll get into grouping here in a minute. But sketching, you got modify. You've got all these extrude, sweep, and loft. There's a bunch of different things we're going to put off that. So we're going to group. So now when I grab this, the whole thing should move. All right, great. And then when I grab that to grouping, group, ungroup. Take that. Control copy. So I made a second one. I'm sticking it over here. There you go. Probably, yeah, there we go. And make sure that's gonna be the front side of my cat. Pan over. If you do control, copy, and paste, you can get it on there too. I'm putting my sphere somewhere else. I guess that's tilted a little bit. Let's try this. I'm going to hit my move again. What I'm going to do this time is I'm going to turn my ear a little bit and pull it down. Shove it somewhat into the cat's head. And actually pull it back this way. This is why I think it's really good to use these arrows, because I can really get a much better control over it. Sliding around before just in this program is not worth it. Grab the yellow ball. You can see it right there. I'm going to take it. I'm going to turn it a little bit. So there's my cat. His ears all messed up. Take the whole group of it. When I'm ready, go up here, group it. Now if I move him, I can move everywhere. And this is where it's not a bad idea to save things and do say, okay, save to my projects or to my computers on my projects. It's going to be on the cloud, to my computers on my cloud. I'm going to save my project save, Rough Kitty. All right. Training, teach. All right. And then we're going to save it. In this case, I'm going to keep it mine private because it's not really ready to go. Okay. And it's going to put it out there. So again, let's say I want to go ahead and make a sphere here off the eyes. How many people have got their cat done? We got a couple. We're waiting on some other folks, and while I'm mucking around here and messing it up, I'm going to take another sphere. I'm going to make the radius of this 2. All right. I go boom. Then I'm going to change the color of it. Sometimes getting the material things comes kind of a pain. I'm going to make it, well, let's see what I used last time, iron. Get rid of the overlay. All right, there's iron. Shouldn't look... Tweak it, press, pull, shell it out. You can do different things. Though I think it's funny when you... Let's try this. I'm not shell's really going to work all that well here. All right, if I get this again, go over here to, I'm going to make, what I might do in this case is take this, copy it, control copy, V, and move one over this way. So I get both my eyes. And then what I'm going to do, actually, See, that's when you start joining it. It's really kind of tricky. All right, now I'm going to take both these eyes. I might group them. So I'll go back up here to group. All right, so now they're grouped. All right, and then go down to here, and then let's go to move. Bring it forward. Let's try to twist this. Let's see if I can swing around this way. My drawing ability in this stuff is... I want to get it up a little bit higher. I want to get these eyes. Get this, move that out of the way. I don't want to do that one. Use that move quite a bit, to be honest with you. I group those. Okay, let's try this down here. My little eyes up here. Moving these up. Why did I do that? That's kind of funky. That shouldn't have done that. Now let's move them again. Let's go group that. And go like this. And then we're going to move it. Here we go. Now I've gotten right where I want it. Now I'm going to shove this back and like that. I'm going to have to get a lot closer though. So move it. Again, working in a 3D world is not easy. Here's it. So I need to shove those eyes in there. I got one eye in there a little bit farther than the other eye. Great. My goodness, this cat is awful. Sorry, guys. All right. So we sat there. We still got other people playing with the cat. Let's go on to the next ones there. Ideally, when you can go faster, mine, it looks a lot better than my first one than that one. All right, let's go here. This one. This. Go. So here's the second lesson. You can set patterns down. So watch this. You can do things like this. This is kind of a trip. Take him, group him. Grouped. All right, now he's grouped. I do a pattern. You know what I'm going to do? Let's just do it this way. This is much faster. So I put a box here. If I do patterns, I can go pattern, solid. And then if I go by direction, watch. What? Let's do this. No, let's do. Pull an arrow out like this, and we'll get 3 of them right there. Pull an arrow here once I make patterns, and it's selecting 3 at a time. So you can do all these funky deals here. So let's go through this again. That wasn't very clear what I was doing. So back that up. So I take this object. I'm selecting object. I'm going to do a pattern. I'm going to go by direction. And hopefully I can get this to pop up. You see the arrows there? So I pull there, I'm going to get 3 right off the bat. And you can change how many you pull. So I'm pulling in more. It's kind of funky. Honestly, not use this one a lot. In terms of, I'm sure there's good uses for it. I've just not used it enough to do that. Okay. You use circular patterns along the axis in 2 directions. Click on the rectangular pattern, make sure your object is selected, which I wasn't doing in the beginning. Select 1 or 2 edges to assign directions. And then how far each will apart from the next may overlap if your distance is too far. So make sure you got enough distance. So that's 25 millimeters. That's 45 millimeters apart. And you can also make patterns that rotate around an edge or axis using a circular pattern tool. So you can go around and play with that. Just like the rectangle pattern we selected, you can choose it that way. Or you can center around its face and get a funky different angle. So you can do things like that where you keep patterning over and over. So there it is. Now, polyline. Polyline is our mirroring plane, but you can use polyline. What it does do in 123 design is you can either draw whole solid structures or polylines off of it. Okay? And so let's go through it again. Let me just select the object. As we go through this, go here, pattern. We're going to go directions. All right, and then you pull it out. And that's how much space can be between each direction. So you pull out the one, and you can say over here in directions, 50, and then you have 50, and then you can say I want 4, which kind of jammed them in. So you have to keep changing your direction. Be careful when you do that. All right, let me go back one. It should be okay. So here you go. And so that's what you're doing. You can do circular power. You can do a path pattern. You got to set it along a path where you set this. Notice you always get this little button down here. These are tweaks, and I'll show you this right now, where you can do like tweak, where you can pull things. So I'm pulling it this way. I can pull it this way. This is all tweaks. See how I'm getting the face of this? A little bit like SketchUp. Down that way, and I can also twist it. So it's case sensitive. When you click on objects, look, there usually will be a button shows up, or a little gear looking thing to me. So there's one to tweak. Press or pull, we've done. And here's one that's kind of cool. Shell. That makes it a shell right there. So this is really useful if you 3D print something, and the depth of that, the how thick you want to make this, you can say, I want the thickness and size to be such and such. So watch if we make the thickness 0.1. It's much, that wall is thicker. All right? And you can do things like, here it is, outside. So we're taking it on the outside, and we can pull it out like this. See that? How cool is that? So again, as we're playing with these things, and really right now we're just playing and drawing really poor cats on my part. I go here, I pull on this, a little looking gear teeth. I can tweak it like SketchUp, where I can grab an edge. I can pull it long. Wait a minute, let me do this. I pull the arrow out this way, it's pulling that wall. I can pull it up this way. And look what this is doing. See how I tweaked it? I just pulled it from one side. Again, click on it, pull that on. That was tweaking it. I can, press, pull. I can select the face. Make it 10 here. For some reason, let's try here. So I can, there we go, we play with that way. You can just start messing with it. This is one of these things, for me anyways, I just have to play with it a lot to get better and better at it. All right, and then there's that shell thing, which you can cut a hole in there, so that's kind of cool. And then once you're in this shell, so now you can do the walls of this thing, which it wouldn't allow you to do it because we already did it there. If you do just the edges, you can now do, look at this edge. Now we can do something called fillet, which I'm probably not saying it. And let's make that 5 degrees. Let's try that again. All right, see how it broadens it up like this? Which is a kind of a cool edge. Like you see fillets when you see around a phone case. It's not perfectly shaped. So here we go, fillet. I'll make that 10 degrees here. Which is probably too much. It didn't. Yeah, it told me it was too much. So I go to fillet. Oh, it won't let me do it. I wonder why that is. Sometimes you're drawing things on this, it doesn't want to do it. Fillet. Worst comes to worst, we'll go do it on a square, but I want to see if I can do 2.5. No, doesn't like it. I think it has something to do with this. Let me draw just a regular square. I'll show you what fillet does. Let me go over here. Let's see if I can get on this. Go here. There's where I can do the fillet. I'm going to do 5 degrees down here. See that? See how it gave it a really nice kind of funky look? Funky town. So there's fillet at 5 degrees. And then the other side, let's try this edge. We want just one edge. I know we're running a little light. Let me show you. I messed around a little bit too long with that cat. Chamber. Let's go 5 on that. And you see a little difference. This is rounded edge. This is a flat edge straight off of that. Okay. So all I want you to see is as you draw objects, you're going to see things that are pertinent. So they have edges like in Sketch. Many of you did SketchUp last year. They have edges and they have faces. And everything's got, if it's a face, you got tweak, press, pull, shell it. If it's an edge, you've got fillet and chamber. See how that's specific to your shapes. I'm not going to worry about, got these circular patterns, you can twist it. We're not going to get terribly fired up about that. We'll come back to that later on the cat. That's grouping. Okay. Sketching is the drawing. I did want you to see that. It looks like this. It'll draw rectangles. And we can talk later about why you would use sketch options. It's like drawing on a piece of paper. Could I 3D print based on a sketch? We need to add some depth to your sketches so you can do it. You can do push and pulls on it and rotates around the axis. So that you can do the same thing you sketched, you can do it there. All right, and sweeping copies something along a path, which we're not going to worry about. See, like you can do things like this. Like you can make the Death Star. How cool is that? We'll get in contract, so we'll get to that next time on there. We'll go into subtraction and show you how to make your own little Death Star. All right? Okay. I'll put everything down. Let me just ask you all real quick. Okay. Any other questions before we call it a night? Ran a little bit later than we wanted to. No questions, anyone? All right, we'll hit this, and then next week you should be getting your Raspberry Pis and lab. We'll do a little more of this, and then we'll get going on our Raspberry Pis. But this way you can start to see, you can start to design things in here, and you can download them as STL files. And if you download them as an STL file, we can print them out on a 3D printer. Okay, everybody? And I'll put together a little more object to build this next time. We'll go step by step through it and use the parts of this software that you'll probably use more of. The reality is we could spend another week. We could spend several more labs learning how to use this software. And it's always a trade-off, and we've got a lot more things to do. Okay? There's also some good tutorials, though they tend to be on their website a little bit old. The software's been really evolving. All right, any other questions over here? Okay, can I see? Well, that was a while ago. I don't need to care if you all really want to see the design of the cat. I'm not so sure. But make sure you try the edges and shapes and play with that. All right, everybody? Good job coming. And I'll see you soon. Okay? Take care, everybody.